Mom, I've already told you, this line is for priority clients only. You need to leave. The bank teller didn't even bother to glance up. Her name tag read Kara, and her tone cut through the pristine lobby like a blade. Eyes turned. A woman in a sharp navy blazer and worn sneakers stood silently, stunned. She opened her mouth to explain, but Kara waved her off without even listening, adding coldly, "You're holding up the line. You people always do this." A businessman behind her in a tailored suit muttered something under his breath, just loud enough to be heard. Probably doesn't even have a real account. The woman straightened up, her voice calm and clear, asking once more to speak with someone. But the nearby security guard stepped forward before she could finish, hand already on his walkie-talkie. "Ma'am, please don't make this harder than it has to be." Her eyes scanned the room. No empathy, no one intervened, just silence and judgment. She nodded once, turned to leave, and said quietly, "I'll be back. Soon." 10 minutes later, the bank doors swung open again, but this time she wasn't alone. Two men in tailored suits walked behind her, one holding a black folder, the other clutching a tablet. Outside, a sleek black car still idled, the driver standing with the door held open like something out of a movie. The bank manager, Rick, stepped out of his office mid-chew, mouth still full from his sandwich. "What's going on here?" he asked, eyes narrowing. The woman walked directly to him, calm but composed, and handed him a card. Rick's face drained of color as he read the title. CEO, founder, majority shareholder. There was a beat of pure silence. The woman who had just been treated like an outsider owned the entire institution. Kara's face twisted with disbelief. "Is this some kind of joke?" she asked, her voice a shrill whisper. But the woman was done speaking to her. She turned back to Rick, her tone suddenly heavier. 10 minutes ago, I was profiled, humiliated, in front of a dozen witnesses. Not because I lacked credentials, not because I made a scene, but because your team didn't see someone worth respecting." Her gaze swept the room, landing finally on Kara, who stood pale and wordless behind the counter. "You didn't just disrespect a customer, you disrespected a human being. And that tells me exactly how you run this branch." Rick stumbled over his words, trying to apologize, his voice trembling. "This has to be a misunderstanding." She cut him off with a raised hand. "There is no misunderstanding. This isn't the first complaint we've received about this location. It's just the first time I've experienced it personally." She took a breath. Then she looked them all square in the eye and told them the truth. "I founded this bank 12 years ago. I started with a folding table, a rented desk, and a dream. My mother used to scrub floors in offices like this. My father wasn't allowed to open a bank account until he was 42. I built this company to give people like them, like me, a place where they were treated with dignity." The air was heavy now. No one spoke, not even the businessman in the suit who had laughed earlier. She nodded at the suited man beside her. "Effective immediately, this entire branch is under internal audit. Staff involved in today's incident are suspended, pending review." Kara choked back a protest. "You can't do this. This isn't fair." The CEO looked at her for just 1 second and replied, "Neither was the way you treated me." One of her assistants stepped forward, tablet open. "We've already pulled the security footage. HR and legal are reviewing it now." Rick looked like he might collapse. "This will ruin us." She gave him a final pointed look. This will remind you who you're supposed to serve." And with that, she turned and walked out. The security guard who had tried to escort her out earlier stopped her at the door, his voice quiet. "Mom, I'm sorry, I should have known better." She nodded once, and then she left. The silence that followed was heavier than any vault in the building. By the next day, clips from phones had gone viral. Millions of people watched the video. The humiliation, the return, the reckoning. The comments flooded in. "This is what justice looks like. Never judge someone by their shoes. The world needs more CEOs like her." A week later she returned, not to gloat, but to lead a workshop for new hires. She'd launched a company-wide training initiative on dignity and service. "This is still my bank," she told the new staff, "but it won't be a place where people are made to feel small." Because she remembered where she came from, and she would never allow anyone to be forgotten again. Power doesn't come from a title or a suit. It comes from standing tall when others try to make you small. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment, where are you watching from? If this story touched you, subscribe the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.